Alright, first off, let's talk about weapons. So the reason why I'm using RPG instead of any other ranged weapon is because since you're going to be flying high in the air, you want to go use projectiles with explosions. So RPG locked and loaded will do the most amount of projectile damage at a fast rate while also keep you a safe distance away. Sure, you can use Slipknot and dry fire and that type of stuff to gain extra height and distance, but reminder, you don't want to stay in the air for as long as possible because now that since lightning strike is a thing, or lightning spear I guess is what it's called, you don't want to keep on staying in the air for too long. So this is why you're going to be using locked and loaded. Spam is secondary until you run out of shots and then you land back down. Now on to perks. We will use the perk Angel's Descent because it will prevent us from taking fall damage while also allowing us to go float in midair and aim our shots more precisely. And also, it will negate the action point cost that we will take from using super jump initially. So this will just help us overall in getting more kills and more distance while we are floating in midair. Alright, now we got ways of gaining height. We got super jump, rag table, gravity disruptor, and grapple hook. Super jump is the one that I prefer since it sends you out the fastest without needing to learn anything else. Rag table is there because it can get you a lot of height. The problem is that it sometimes sets you up too high, which you don't want, or it propels you in the direction that makes it hard to go shoot someone, unless you have like god aim. Grapple hook sorta has the same problem, except it mainly gives you tons of speed and horizontal movement instead of vertical height. And then gravity disruptor does do its job, it's just it's really slow at propelling you upward. You can use it, it's just maybe not that recommended. Same thing with rag table. Now we are on to weapon abilities. So we got lightning spear, which is really good because it has a fast cooldown and can do 30 base damage on hit. Now, of course, you can always charge it up for more damage, but this is basically your anti-air and quick damage finisher option. And besides, since your build doesn't really use mana, it's just a free skill. Now we have Bloxy Radar. I haven't tested Bloxy Radar or Anti-Heal Potion that much. Bloxy Radar can help at detecting enemies since your rocket launcher can shoot through walls technically, but I'd rather just use this as a support ability because you could just get rid of invisibility and such with Bloxy Radar. Anti-Heal Potion is also a support. It flicks Anti-Heal. I think his AoE splash thing is a little bit too low, so I'll say be wary of that. Now we have Poison Mist Bomb. This one can actually be used in replacement of Lightning Spear, but it like only attacks in one location and is pretty easy to avoid compared to the Lightning Spear that you can throw anywhere and hit for a pretty big explosion. And lastly, we got Time Bomb. Now this one is a little bit weird because if you're too high, it will explode before it even hits the ground. So I'll say like time it correctly and then you can do tons of damage. Other than that, yeah, it's basically all the attack abilities that I can suggest for this build. Alright, for the last part of my long explanation, we got remixes. Now airstrike would be the most fitting one, but I've always found it hard to use, which is why I use exponential launchers, which works extremely well up in the air as well. Now, Helicopter and Scarlet Annonia are my second best picks. Annonia is probably on the lower end because it's only pretty good with dashes equipped, but since I don't have those, it isn't as well as it should be. Besides, Scarlet Annonia can be pretty easily predicted if someone goes undercover or goes out of view. Now for Helicopter, you can use it to go like fire off your rocket launchers and do range attacks with the sniper scope. It's pretty good in general. Other than that, yeah, that's basically it. Now, the rest of the video is just gonna be gameplay and some explanations to meet them. Alright, me done. So I did test out your build for around like 2 matches or so. I'll tell you that rag table and displacement doesn't match as well as you think. You're better off using like super jump if you're doing what I think you're doing, where you go up high, you grapple someone towards you, and then you toss a thunderbolt at them. Maya, yes, that can be a strong combo, but it's just really hard to pull off consistently unless you have God aim, which the average person doesn't. Besides, you're better off just spamming Thunderbolt overhead because there is headshot damage with it. Now, I wouldn't say this build is bad. It's just, I feel like Swift Cast with Rag Table is kind of useless. Also, there's no point in having Swift Cast with Thunderbolt since its cooldown is already 0.4 seconds. You could have done maybe a jump slam dunk Thunderbolt build with displacement. That might have worked, but I don't know, it's pretty complicated. Anyways, I think your build can be used like pretty well since Rag Table can be used for horizontal movement, but other than that it's decent. All in all, I rated a 6.8 out of 10. Sorry.